Hi, it's Katie again from the Speech Bubble. Following on from the word wheel that I showed you earlier, I thought it'd be a good idea to show you some quick games that you could play to reinforce some of the ideas around the word wheel. What you're going to see is a series of videos with me and my daughter playing a few different games. They're supposed to be quick examples, and I'll try and explain a little bit that they can be used in various different ways. Some of the games focus on a lot of ideas around the word wheel at the same time, so reinforce everything that you've practiced. Some have very specific focus, and that focus can be changed. I hope you'll understand a bit more when you've looked at all the games and the explanations before each one. So the first game is 20 questions, and this reinforces an awful lot around the word wheel. It focuses mainly on the meaning of the words that we're talking about. The idea is that the children hold a card of an object that you might have, so it can be a picture of anything. You could also use like a headbands game for the same sort of idea. And they ask yes and no questions to try and figure out what the picture is that's being hidden. It helps reinforce category and subcategory, because this is the quickest way of reducing the number of items. So the very first set of questions that we ask is typically around the different categories of things. So is it a food, is it an animal, is it a transport, those kind of things. And then once you've got the category, you talk about the subcategory. So is it an animal? Yes. Is it a pet? Is it a farm animal? Is it a zoo animal? And then you start to think a little bit more detail about maybe the parts of the object, or maybe the material that it's made out of, maybe the location where it's found.
Is it alive?
No.
It's not alive. Is it in this room?
No.
Is it in this house?
No.
Is it outside?
Mm-hmm.
Is it in the garden?
No.
Are we in it?
No.
Oh.
So it's not a building. So think of other groups of things it could be that are outside that aren't alive.
Is it a car?
It's not a car, but a car is a type of what?
Vehicle.
Vehicle.
Is it a vehicle?
Kind of like a vehicle, yeah.
Oh, is it a bike?
No, you need to think about where your vehicles go as to where this might go. Because the two you've mentioned, where do they go? On the
Road.
right.
So am I thinking about the road or not?
Well, you have to ask me.
Does it drive on the road?
No. Where else can vehicles go?
Does it go on train tracks?
Nope.
Does it go up in the air?
Nope. It's a hard one. How could you get to America if you didn't go in an aeroplane?
You could drive.
Can't drive.
You could get a taxi.
Can't drive. There's no roads to America.
Oh.
Because what is there between England and America? A
A
whole
river.
load of not river.
Water.
Yeah.
Oh, a boat.
So sorry. What's your question?
Is it a boat?
It's a type of boat.
Is it a speedboat?
It is! Look! There's the speedboat! The next game is a simple dice game that I play with any pictures that I have, and this can be adapted to reinforce whichever part of the word wheel you want. So the idea again is that a child takes an object picture and rolls the dice, and whatever number comes up on the dice, they have to then generate that number of items. So in the case of the video that's following, we talked about, again, category or subcategory, but you could equally do it for reinforcing the first sound of a word, or you could think about what other items could be found in a given location, or what other items could be made out of the same materials. Some of it is going to be determined by what pictures you use, so it'd be quite hard to use an apple, which is what Alia has next, to think about what materials it is, but you could perhaps think of lots of other words that begin with an A, or lots of other items that you found outside, or lots of other items that might grow on a tree, or that you might eat. Okay, so what have you got?
An apple.
Which is a type of...
Food. So I'm gonna...
What kind of food is it?
A fruit.
A fruit.
So how many rows are...
Let's see.
What? So 6. So
6.
what do I do?
What do you think you have to do? You've got to tell me 6.
6 fruit.
6 fruits.
Okay.
I'll let you have apple as one.
Okay, that I can do by myself. Okay.
Go on then.
Apple. I have strawberries.
Yeah.
I have a banana.
Yeah.
Orange.
Yeah.
A carrot. No, that's a vegetable.
That's a vegetable. What other fruits can you think of?
Oh, I have one. Set that.
Go on.
Kiwi.
A kiwi.
One left. What do you mean?
Okay, let's think of another one. When it's really, really hot, sometimes when we have a barbecue, Daddy cuts up a...
Oh, watermelon.
A watermelon. Brilliant. Good girl. This next game is a family favourite. It's something that we play all the time when we're waiting in queues or we're driving along in the car. It's called the alphabet game. And the idea of this is that you work your way through the alphabet having chosen a topic. So you could choose animals, food, clothes, furniture. We've done it with cars, pretty much anything. Things that you see outside, you can make it relatively big, because what you're going to do is generate an item within the category that starts with each letter of the alphabet. So you could simply say, right, I'm going to think of something that we eat that begins with A, apple. And then the next person can think of something that begins with B that you eat. So that might be banana. To make it harder, which is what Alia chose to do, each person within the group might have to think of something that begins with the same letter. So again, if it's a food, each person in the game might have to think of something beginning with A that's a food. Someone might choose apple. Somebody else might choose avocado, for example. And then the next round, you start with B. Somebody chooses banana. Somebody else chooses bean. You could work through the alphabet all the way to Z. Some letters don't lend themselves to this. So when you get to your U's and your Z's and your W's, sometimes they can be really hard to fill. So if we're really struggling as a family, what we do is we just skip over those letters and go, oh, that's too hard. Or we choose to go and have a look on the internet and then talk about the things that we find on the internet. Figure it out. So now we're going to play the ABC game. Okay,
Yeah.
So we need to think of what topic are we going to use for our ABC game.
Shall we use animals?
Animals. And am I going to think of an A and you think of an A? Or are we going to go A and then you think of a B one and I think of a C?
I think we should do A, B, B, C, D.
C. Okay.
D.
So we're going to do animals alphabet game. Okay, so who's going first?
Shall I?
Go on then.
Antelope.
So you're thinking of an animal that begins with A and you've gone with antelope. I'm going to go with an ant.
I was going to say that, it's just I wanted to think something harder.
Super. So now we're on B.
Bulldog.
Good, I'll have that. How about B for bear?
Ooh.
Okay. An animal begin with K.
Cats. Cat.
Cat. I'm going to go for a caterpillar.
Ooh, good
Okay.
one.
How about D?
Dog. Dog.
Okay. I'm going to go with
Big.
dolphin.
Oh, that's my favourite animal now.
The next game again requires pictures. I've got a simple bingo game. I can do pretty much most of my therapy if I have a bingo game with me. A simple bingo game is one of the most powerful tools in my box. What you will see next is Alia and I playing the bingo game, first of all to practice describing things by category. What you will see is Alia and I playing the bingo game, first of all, to practice describing things by function. And then after a brief pause, we swap and we change to trying to figure out the first sounds in the word and seeing if that helps us to guess what the words are. This could also be done by giving a rhyming clue, or you could give a category clue, or you could talk about the location of something as well. You could even just use describing words to maybe describe the parts for somebody to find. So it's a really versatile game, I find. So watch Arlie and I playing bingo. Okay, so let's play this bingo game. You ready? So you're going to take a picture like this, and I'm going to give you a clue about it, about what we use it for, okay? We use it for cooking food.
Well, that's two.
For cooking food?
Oh, only really one.
What is it?
Is it a cooker?
It certainly is.
Thank you.
Right, you give me a clue about what you use it for.
Okay, you can eat it. It's a type of vegetable.
Oh, is it a carrot?
Yeah.
Fantastic. My turn. Oh, it's an animal, and it goes moo.
A cow.
Yeah.
My turn. Ooh, you can wear it when it's hot.
A t-shirt. Yes, I've got lots. This time I'm going to tell you what it begins with. Okay. Oh, it begins with a K.
A capital or a low?
Doesn't matter. Well, there's two, isn't there, that begin with a K. It rhymes with far, but it begins with a K.
Car.
Yeah.
Yay. All the colours were on mine, so no matter what, I would get it, wouldn't I? So I'm going to change mine. It starts with a K and it rhymes with boat.
Goat. Like it. Okay. It starts with an A.
Right, there's only one here. There's only aeroplane, so it must be aeroplane.
Well, there isn't. There's two. An aeroplane doesn't start with the sound A, does it? It starts with the sound air.
Oh, is it an apple?
It's an apple, that's right. The final game that we've got this time is pairs, and it's just a simple game where you turn the pictures over and you take turns to turn over two cards. Again, I chose to do this reinforcing category. So the pairs that we've got aren't identical pictures. They are two sets of food, two food pictures, two clothes pictures, two transport pictures, for example. And again, you could do the same sort of thing by having two pictures that start with the same sound, two pictures that rhyme and play that game there, two pictures that come from the same location. So again, another really versatile game that allows you to practice lots of different functions on the word wheel. Right, so who's going first?
Shall I?
Go on then, turn over one.
Ball.
Ball is a
Game.
toy.
A toy. I'm just going to pick a random. Oh, wow. I actually just picked a random one.
What else did you pick up?
A game. Those are exactly the same
They're
things.
both toys, aren't they?
Yeah. So I'm going to put that.
So I've got a bed, my turn. I've got a bed that's some furniture, and a car that's some transport. They don't go together, do they? No. Your turn.
Oh, well, I'm going to pick up an aeroplane because I just saw that, and a car because Katie found a car. So I'm going to put those together, and I've got two bingo.
What are they?
Well,
why do they go together?
Because they're both transport.
I've got a cow that's an animal, and an apple that's some food. They don't go together. I'm not doing very well with this game.
No. Right, I've got apple, and I'm just going to put it back. And a carrot. Wow, I'm really...
Why do they go together?
Because they're both food.
So there you go. Those are my 5 quick games. I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you get a chance to practice with them. And let us know how you find them. And obviously, add your own in the comments below. If you've got other games, and I know there are many more out there, this is just a quick selection. Please add your own ideas at the bottom and share them.